Hello, thanks for joining me today for another Decan video. This time it's for Gemini's final third Decan, which is this card here, the 10 of Swords with the Sun in Gemini. And so here I have the Sun card representing the Sun, and here is the Lovers card representing Gemini. Behind this, I have the Magician, which represents Mercury, and Mercury is the ruling planet for the entire sign of Gemini. So I like to have the ruling planet out just as a kind of reminder of that. And then here, behind the Sun, I have Aquarius, which is the sign that forms a triplicity to this particular Decan. So there's that. And then we have Saturn, which co-rules this Decan in particular and is the traditional ruling planet for Aquarius. So there we have the cards linked to this Decan here, the 10 of Swords. Let's go ahead and start by looking a little closer at the 10 of Swords here. So the 10 of Swords is the final card in the sword suit before we start getting into the court cards. So it is a lot about endings and the new beginnings that come with endings. And so in a way, it kind of reminds me of the Death card a little bit, because we frequently see kind of a person like this here that appears to be dead. It's not 100% sure. I mean, they could be sleeping, I suppose, but just that idea of endings and new beginnings and kind of symbolic kind of death, and then the new sunshine that comes with that. In this card in particular, the scene is very dark and we don't really see that traditional sun that's associated with this card. So for that reason, I've brought these two other cards here. First, we can see in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card a lot more of that sunshine there. So we still get that dark sky. We still get that figure that's like stabbed kind of to death, it seems there. But then we also see this kind of sunrise, or, sun on the horizon there. So that's what I'm talking about there, about the sun. And then this one's from the Lightseers deck, and in this picture we don't get that traditional person that's like laying there on the ground, and we don't see the swords either, but I really like this interpretation because the swords have converted into these birds that are kind of flying off, and then we have this character here that's like standing strong and looking to the horizon, which again brings in that idea of the rising sun and the new day that's dawning once we've completed this cycle, kind of the dark night of the soul sort of thing, right? And so I think this card speaks a lot about the end of a possible thought process, or, a change of mind about something. So it's definitely a change, right? And something else to be aware of with this Decan here is that it's heralding in a new season. As you all know, we're at the end of spring now, and the next thing that's coming is the summer solstice. And so that's kind of that sunrise that's on the horizon. So it's kind of announcing that new beginning of a new season, which I think is a pretty great way to think of this here. And so going back here to Gemini and Mercury, these cards I think speak a lot to kind of being at a crossroads, choices that we have to make when that happens. And then with Mercury, I see that a lot as kind of manifesting our reality, using our mind and the power of thinking to manifest kind of in, externally those things that we're seeking, kind of mind over matter, sort of, so to speak. And so let me move these other cards out of the way here. And then with the sun here, again, it's about illuminating. It's about bringing in that new season, a new vitality of life, shedding light on the darkness, all that kind of stuff. And that's coming with the change of seasons and with kind of this final step in that process of, okay, we've done the thing. We've come to a conclusion. And I think that's what we can see here as this 10 of Swords representing that finality of a conclusion, of a decision, right? That choice that comes with the Lover's card of being at a crossroads. We've finally kind of crossed that and made that choice. And then the triplicity that's formed with Aquarius, I think, is interesting because Aquarius is a lot about our hopes and dreams, our aspirations, that kind of thing. And so at this point in time, we're kind of halfway through at least the chronological year, which Saturn is connected to Chronos and time, father time. And so at least chronologically speaking, we are at the, kind of midpoint of that year. And so it's a time when speaking about our goals or thinking about our goals, we've hit kind of a milestone, especially as we're nearing now the summer solstice. It's kind of a time to reflect on, what has come to be, what has been the fruit of our labor and our, struggle or whatever we've been working on up to this point. I think that's something that the sun is going to be shining some light on, where are we actually? In terms of those goals, how far have we gone? And that's kind of the matter that's going to be settled. Something else that I think a lot with Gemini and the sword suit is kind of making your bed and then laying in it. And with the 10 of Swords, the 9 of Swords too, it's people kind of being in this position of, being laid down or being in their bed. So I think to me, it just always makes me think of that. Like, you've made your bed, now you're laying in it. We're halfway through the chronological year. So we're coming to that point where we're reflecting on our hopes and dreams, and it's time to kind of see, okay, how far have we come? What's the progress that we've made on those goals that we set at the beginning of the year, those intentions that we set at the beginning of the year? And I think with Saturn here, Saturn's a lot, again, about endings and beginnings. It comes at the end of the major arcana, and I think it connects very well to the 10 of Swords because it's the end of a cycle and then the sun is coming. So we're about to start something new. So I think that connects really well to this Decan here. And so that's kind of the overarching story or themes that I see here connected with this Decan. This idea that, we're at a critical point in our story for the year, at least the chronological year. It's a time when we've hit the midpoint, and it's kind of, a climactic kind of point where we're going to really start to see, have we made progress on those hopes and dreams that we set? And what are some things that need to kind of end? What are some things that we need to begin again, or, begin just in general? What are those choices that we've made, or those choices that we need to make to get to where we want to be? And so that's basically how I see this Decan here, just as a point of heralding in the coming summer, the coming sun, as a way to really evaluate where we're at with our goals, and as a way to just kind of see the things that we need to stop and the things that we need to start. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video for this Decan, third Decan in Gemini, and I'll see you all again very soon for another one. Thank you.